Yo, what's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another Friday Night SmackDown edition for a live edition as I'm covering for August 2nd, 2024, as we get to the nitty gritty, everything so saucy and professional wrestling. More importantly, we get into the details of the go home show heading towards SummerSlam. More importantly, everything is looking great when it comes to the card building up towards SummerSlam, as we have a decent card that's being showcased with everything that's going on. For this following's Saturday's actually SummerSlam, we have Drew McIntyre taking on CM Punk. We have Logan Paul taking on LA Knight for the United States Championship. We also have Sami Zayn taking on Braun Breaker in a great Intercontinental Championship match, as well as we have Damian Priest taking on Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. We have Bayley taking on Nia Jax for the WWE Women's Championship. And as well, we have Liv Morgan taking on Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Heavyweight Championship. And we have Cody Rhodes taking on Solo Sikoa for the WWE Undisputed Championship for this following Saturday. But let's go ahead and get into the nitty gritty of everything that went on for tonight, for Friday Night SmackDown. As we have for advertised with the Bloodline taking on DIY for the Tag Team Championship for tonight's showcase after winning the gauntlet and determine the number one contenders. As well as tonight's card, we have Logan Paul for a homecoming in Cleveland with a special other people that's involved, including a tag team championship rematch between Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill to challenge the Unholy Union for the women's tag team championship. And so much more went on for tonight, but I wholly appreciate you guys coming through and show your love and support. Don't forget to give a heart or smash the like button, or if you directly on my YouTube, subscribe, and more importantly, share this content. But let's go ahead and get into everything that went on for tonight for Friday SmackDown. I appreciate you guys always showing your love and support. Tonight they were pretty much live when it came to everything that went on. They were currently live right now in Cleveland, Ohio, as they're getting ready for SummerSlam. They started off with the show with the opener when it came to Cody Rhodes. He gets on the mic, started his grand entrance, of course, getting the Cleveland crowd red hot, being involved with everything. Same when it came to Nick Aldis, who was arrived in the arena, and so much more. Of course, Cody Rhodes gets to his normal thing of what you want to talk about. Better yet, who do you want to talk about before calling out Solo Sikoa? Things broke down very quickly when it came to Solo Sikoa. Ended up coming alone. He came alone, but wearing a decent coat, of course, all suited and booted, ready to have a great interview when it came to having a face-to-face off before the actual battle at the Saturday SummerSlam. Um, Literally, they pretty much had the blows, and then they ended up having a great talk. Of course, the crowd ended up were chanting very loudly of course Solo sucked, and more importantly, they were chanting for Roman Reigns throughout the course of this actual segment. Cody ended up before telling him he sees the chip on his shoulder, but he knows what he is like being a little brother. More importantly, it's not easy doing what he's doing, but as well the length that he's going to go when he goes after him. But from a distance, Rose almost admires it. More importantly, he says once the balloon hole in cinema is through and over, the old expressions in this business as the bell's going to ring with him victorious. Then he says when it rings, he's going to find out he has nothing to lose and everything is going to be on the line. Solo impatiently looks at his watch and asks Cody Rhodes more importantly, he says, "Are you done?" He says he's more importantly wasting his time and he's getting very impatient. Cody says he's not done and says Solo is self-appointed, himself as a tribal chief, but the actual WWE Undisputed Champion on top of all WWE is a throne he once broke. More importantly, he sits there at the deep emotions depth to those who paid the price for their bodies to help them get to that goal. Men like Randy Orton, Kevin Owens. More importantly, he went ahead and talked about if he loses at SummerSlam, he can't repay that debt. More importantly, he doesn't intend to lose. He intends to pay them back, and with Solo's blood to do what he need to do and is do what he's saying what he did to Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Solo points out that Cody keeps bringing up the bloodline rules as if it's something that's very special to him. But he says Roman was a weak tribal chief. I don't know about that. I feel like more importantly, Roman Reigns wasn't a weak tribal chief. He carried the company for 3 years. And for Solo to say that, it's kind of like a big slap in the face. After Solo been losing so many matches during that tenure when Roman Reigns actually was holding everything and going through there. More importantly, everything else seems like it's been running smoothly. And on top of that, now Solo's looking to take advantage of everything. And then I don't know how to go about that. But it looks like it's going to be a big game changer when it comes to what Solo's trying to do. But I feel like in the long run, Roman Reigns will be returning back at this following Saturday for SummerSlam. Solo ends up saying he's more dangerous and he's not playing around. But tomorrow night at SummerSlam, he's going to show him how dangerous he is. Cody talks a big game, but put your money where your mouth is and make it a Bloodline Rules match. Of course, this means that other members are going to be involved, including Tama Tonga, Jacob Fatu, who's been a true MVP when it comes to the professionalism of everything that he has done. And I'm loving everything that Jacob Fatu has been doing. And of course, we end up having Tonga Loa as well, who's involved. But of course, that means other people are going to be involved, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, who probably will be making a return back to get into this Bloodline Rules brawl. More importantly, it's going to be kind of interesting to see how Roman Reigns fits into the glove of everything when it comes to him making his actual return after he's been gone since WrestleMania. And I see we got a couple of folks there coming through. Appreciate you guys always showing your love and support. Got Lynette Baker, one of my aunts. She's always showing her love and support when it comes to all my content. And I always appreciate you coming through. She said, "You're on it, and I'm proud of you." More importantly, I'm proud of you as well for doing your thing as well. If you're out in the Los Angeles area over towards Lancaster, I always recommend for you guys go check out um, her pickles. More importantly, she has some great food available. Gumbo Mama, she's one of those people that really make great soul food and all types of food as well. Pickles with attitude is pretty much what her actual her slogan is when it comes to her actual branding. Appreciate you guys to go check it out. If you're in the Lancaster area in Los Angeles, go ahead and go check her out. As we end up going through, we end up having Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, and Tonga all make their way through the crowd. Cody tells each one of them to turn that he's not afraid of them. And when with the history him and Tama have, he calls Jacob a dumb SOB. And it's not a smart decision, but the only decision Rhodes accepts is the stipulation. More importantly, Solo says that the tag team title match will become to the Bloodline, more so the championships. And then tomorrow night, he will take the WWE championship, and it will be in solely with the family. He said he just defeated the tribal chief, and since that he is not here, he'll settle with the wannabe. That was the quotes from Cody Rhodes when he came to expressing what he felt about Solo Sikoa. More importantly, it was a great segment. It was decent for what it was. It was a 3.8 out of 5 stars. Could have been better, but it still kept me invested in. It was cool for what it was. Appreciate you guys coming through on Twitter and X, formerly known as Twitter, but X. But if you guys want to get your comments across, so I'll be able to see you guys and chop it up about professional wrestling, click directly on my profile and click on my actual YouTube link so you can be a part of this actual live. All the people on Facebook, appreciate you guys coming through and showing your love and support as well. As we got a total of close to 25 people here actually viewing it. It's always a pleasure. And then on my YouTube, we're getting it started. Nobody has come in yet, but we're going to get that going throughout the course of this actual show. Then we get things hyped up for Carmelo Hayes with his hype reel, which was pretty decent. I enjoyed everything about what he had set up when it came to his direct hype reel. And then, of course, Andrade makes his entrance to get ready for the actual match. This match truly was a true banger, and I enjoyed everything about that was going on in this match. More importantly, it kept me highly invested, and there was nothing unturned when it came to this great showcase of a singles match. The match started off very hot off the rip with a collar elbow tie up into a single lock headlock. Then they shut off with a couple of chops in the corner, and then Andrade ended up shutting off Carmelo Hayes. But then Carmelo Hayes jumped off with a big drop kick, and then of course Andrade came off with his own, and then they end up crashing onto the floor as they went to the actual commercial break. Once they came back from the commercial break, Hayes worked on the armbar, and Andrade got into his feet and fights out with a couple of body blows, and then a corner knee stepped up, and then countered it with a nice springboard from there. Mello trips up Andrade, and then he dodges him and then hits him with a forearm. Then they end up hitting with a slingshot block with a slap into the ropes, and then Carmelo Hayes hits a Albanian press suplex to take Andrade down back into the inside. Things picked up back directly into the actual ring as they ended up going with a couple of chops and a couple of positional transitional moves, which kept things going into another break. Because they had a lot of breaks in this actual match. Then Mello marked him up and then hit him with a hang print onto his chest, and then for a near fall for the La Mesca moonsault off the top rope, but nobody was home. Then of course Andrade ended up hitting with his beautiful standing moonsault for a close 2 count. Then Andrade proceeded to hit the figure 4 leg lock in the middle of the ring, but Carmelo Hayes was able to force the rope break. Then they proceeded to go to the top rope to get things on the way, and then of course the messenger blocked everything after the O'Connor roll for a 2, and then Andrade actually was able to counter and hit a lovely victory roll. Some of those things we don't see often to be is those victory rolls, thank God. Because when it was under the Vince McMahon era, I feel like we had so many fruit roll-ups and rolls way too much when it came to matches. But they kind of keeping the peace as calm as they possibly can. But this match was decent after Andrade was able to pick up the victory, steamrolling past Carmelo again for additional second victory over him. More importantly, this keeps the feud going, as I'm wondering how Carmelo's going to pick up the pieces, and hopefully he doesn't get discouraged and be able to bounce back when it comes to the actual action. Then we go into our actual backstage segment. When it comes to they were in Gorilla, Electro Lopez gives Santana a pep talk, and he berates Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo for not taking things seriously and says things need to turn around for Legado del Fantasma tonight, and they end up making an entrance. I enjoyed everything, how they actually broke the entrance from the back, kind of old school files, kind of giving us that 95, 97 kind of entrance from WWE back in the old school days, and I enjoyed it so much. Then we got things underway with Apollo Crews taking on Santos Escobar. Apollo had Baron Corbin. Kind of odd when it comes to this actual tag team. Kill feel like this is just a mixed match tag team. They're not even explaining why they are together really, and it kind of just fell out of place when it comes to this actual tag team. Maybe they need to have a sit down interview or something to kind of give us more invested, but I just wasn't invested into his tag team whatsoever. But more importantly, Apollo is a great athlete. Every single time I see Baron Corbin, he changes up his style and he continues to impress us each and every single week. More importantly, they keep doing their thing when it comes to the ring just in general. But the tag team is just feel like why are they together? I know some mixed tag teams, you can put them together, but this chemistry is just not working when it comes to Apollo and Baron Corbin. But when it comes to the other side of the fence of Legado del Fantasma, I feel like they're falling flat. They've been losing a lot of matches lately. They need to find their rhythm to get back into the flow of things. More importantly, I like to see where they actually get more back onto a mean streak and become more of a serious faction along their lines when it comes to the blue brand. But I'd like to know from you guys' point of view how you feeling about that whole situation when it comes to just this whole entire feud. Do you feel like it just need to be buried and done? Or do you feel like you like to see more of this actual tag team feud when it comes to Baron Corbin along with Apollo Crews taking on Legado del Fantasma. But for my personal opinion, I'm just not feeling it. I'm not invested into the actual tag team match or just whatever this feud or storyline they got going on. It's not keeping me invested. It's kind of feeling like that whole situation with the Xavier Woods and Karrion Kross situation on Monday Night Raw. They got that feud dragging on for so long that it's just not keeping me invested, and I just don't have no care for it whatsoever when it comes to the actual feud that they got going on the Red brand. Triple H need to tweak it up a little bit and get us a little bit more invested. But those two feuds, when it comes to Karrion Kross and Xavier Woods, is a teaser of the New Day breaking up, along with the Final Testament. I'm just not invested. Same when it comes to Apollo Crews and Baron Corbin, along the lines of Santos Escobar. But let's go ahead and get into the singles action, which it was a singles match of Apollo Crews taking on Santos Escobar in singles action. Escobar started off the match very quickly. He started off with the control of the match out the gates, taking the Crews to the corner. Baron Corbin cheers him on through the ringside, and then Apollo throws a couple of forearms, and Santos cuts him off. Whips him to a Curado for a 2 count, but Baron cuts Angel Garza off, and then does a military press and a standing moonsault. Crews gets a 2 count, and then Baron Corbin picks off the other side of the ring, and then Crews got distracted as Santos Escobar got a quick victory with the Phantom Driver, which this was a squash match, whatever you want to call it, but it just was not invested when it came to my own personal opinion. Byron Saxton ends up interviewing Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill backstage. They were both very confident when it came to this interview, and they said for tonight's match, they're going to be standing on business to regain the tag team championship. More importantly, they said we'll see, but getting in the ring with the transphobic, seeing how things unfold, and we shall see in the long run. As we know, the conclusion of that tag team match, it was a crash and burn when it came to somebody joining alliance with the unholy union of Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Then they go to a high package of Logan Paul, who pretty much was coming for a homecoming celebration, as they end up showing him making his entrance into the arena, smiling, and going from there. I know a lot of people have been having their own opinions of how they feel about Logan Paul after he went on a transphobic kind of like rant over this following week after the things had transpired with the Olympics. So a lot of people have been calling for him to be removed as a championship or being fired by WWE. But Logan Paul is always something else. He's always one of those intriguing ones, and he's just always been vocal, just like his brother Jake Paul, when it comes to what they actually feel at that moment. But other than that, he still is great when it comes to his in-ring work. But his outside work, it is what it is. But he's a great genius mind when it comes to building multiple businesses, or even when it comes to him building that failure of a crypto branding that he had available. But it shall be intriguing to see how things unfold with him and LA Knight, as LA Knight most likely will become the new United States champion, as a lot of fans have been vocaling to get rid of him and then pretty much just expressing their feelings, how they feel on X or Facebook, or just in general of whatever they most likely feel. They come back from commercial break, and then Nick Aldis is in the ring, and of course come with a couple of nameless folks that was there from Cleveland. And then he welcomed Logan Paul as they end up congratulating him. And he comes directly in the ring and he gets on a mic and calls LA Knight delusional and says whether you like him or not, he's in Cleveland. He says that he says the point, if you're not going to be a great champion with 2 defenses in his reign so far, but that's 2 more defenses that LA Knight will ever have. More importantly, he said he can't relate to us because he's a great and he has made it. Nick Aldis ends up pipes up and it says he's not even sure who it is they brought in the ring. And then Logan waves him off by saying this is his people and says he's unveiling his banner that will hang in the arena, reminding everyone that Cleveland is his hometown and that he's one of Cleveland's finest. The banner unfulfills and is painted with a big yeah across his face. Then out the blue, LA Knight makes his entrance. He comes directly down. He gets on the mic. He proceeded to tell Logan that he is lucky that he defaced the banner in the worst way of issues right now, and calls him out for not being from Cleveland proper. But since he ruined his little banner, he's going to do him something solid. He's going to go back to the back and he's going to get him another banner, and he'll be right back. The camera follows LA Knight while Logan Paul hits him in a secret cat, and then LA Knight runs into Pretty Daly and asks them if they got anything. They have just sneak peek from Pretty Daly and the musical for him, just in general. LA Knight keeps walking and finds Logan Paul prime branded Hummer, which he arrived earlier during the day. LA Knight says he knows Logan's head is so empty that he's going to be open for Spirit Halloween in there. He's going to come down in a minute, and so LA Knight hops into the vehicle and drives off as Logan approaches it. Logan complains that it is a crime, and more importantly, he unholy, and then things go from there. Then we got, what's this, Fly Highs. I guess he's coming from directly from YouTube or coming directly, jumping in a ship from Twitter. His comment says, put the fries in the back. Whatever that comes to being about, you gotta be a little bit more elaborate of what you're feeling on that. I don't mind when it comes to people who like to troll or like that, or whatever it may be when it comes to what you're feeling. But be more expressive and be more serious about what you're feeling. Unholy Union and comes out with a video package to get the entrance, and we get ready to go directly to the break. Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill gets ready for tag team action as they get ready to take on directly no other in the tag team action of Alba Fire and Isla Dawn for the women's tag team championship. Appreciate you guys also tuning in throughout the whole entire course of the show so far. We're already almost 23 minutes already through it. We were flying by with everything being all smooth. More importantly, you guys are always appreciated. Don't forget to hit a like or hit a heart. On top of that, if my mic is all good, feel free to let me know and make sure everything's all running smoothly. Then we get things off when it came to the tag team action with a lot of chain wrestling, a lot of back and forth in between tag team moves. Then things get underway as Cargill and Dawn stare each other down and go back and forth with a couple of shoulder blocks. Then Jade hits a Stinger splash and then hits a backbreaker, but Jade's covered for a direct 2. Then Jade ends up picking up for a fine miscarry. Dawn slips out and then hits a big right hand to Cargill into the corner for actual tag. The champions is on the opposite corners and then hit a stereo military press drop from the challengers, and then they end up flexing and sending us into the actual commercial break. They come back from the commercial break to keep things all smoothly as Fire tags in and cuts Cargill off. Dawn pulls Belair off the apron to deny her attack. Alba hits with a kick to the ribs. Then things continue to be smooth in transition as they got the 2 count. The ESTs end up getting on the hot tag and end up cutting a couple punches in person and doing a diving cross body on both champions. Then they end up proceeding to hit a double shoulder block on both of them and transition to a drop kick. Then they end up hitting a Revolution vertical suplex, and Belair is all fired up with the kick butt. Then she ends up charging in the corner and mounting punches, and then does her traditional backflip out of the corner and stack them up for a stereo shoulder block. And then she ends up hitting a couple punches, and then Isla Dawn breaks up the pin after the moonsault. Cargill was thrown directly on the outside as Jade pulls her after a super kick and for a schoolboy. Blair Davenport comes directly to the ringside and attacks him to cause the actual disqualification of the match. To help the champions retain, but the champions end up winning, technically winning or retaining. But Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill are going to have their hands full as they're going to need backup to help them out, most likely Naomi, to solve the situation with Blair Davenport. But of course, afterwards, the post match, the champions put the beat down to Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, leaving them down in the wake, along with Blair Davenport, to cause off the segment, and things to continue to transition from there. They came back from commercial break to hype up SummerSlam, and we got Nia Jax's highlight reel, and then we switched things up to Tiffany Stratton, who's backstage crying over her busted briefcase, when Nia Jax rose up and then goes directly from there. She has a shining new pink one available for the actual Money in the Bank winner. It's like a purse style with rhinestones, whole kind of little detailing, and she has a nice little velvet little briefcase holder to keep everything all smoothly, kind of like a purse. And of course, Nia Jax remind her not to cash in on the champion, to keep it cordial between them as the queen and the princess. But if she decides to cash in on Nia Jax, she's gonna have a problem, and the queen is gonna do what she needs to do. Chelsea Green rolls up on them and it ends up talking some trash. Tiffany says green isn't Chelsea color, but the duo huffed it off and was upset about the situation. Maybe we may be getting a Tiffany Stratton face turn over time. It'd be kind of interesting to see how things may unfold. Then we get the Bloodline making an entrance, getting ready for the main event of the night. It's gonna be Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa taking on the tag team champions, taking on the Bloodline members of the Samoan Werewolf, Jacob Fatu, and of course the Tama Tonga for the tag team championship. This match started off red hot when it came to Tama Tonga ducked for a lockup, throwing the body blows, and then Tama Tonga ended up punching him in the back and then sending him with a Falcon Arrow for the Bloodline post up when it came to Tommaso Ciampa. They go into the commercial break and then they proceeded to go back and forth as Tama Tonga bounces his face across the post, and then Gargano takes advantage with it, throwing a couple kicks, including a back body drop onto the apron. Johnny Gargano hits a spear for a 2 count, but Tommaso ends up hitting a cannonball off the apron, and then Tommaso ends up hitting an air raid crash onto Tama Tonga for a 2. Jacob ends up coming back in the ring, and then ends up hitting that lovely senton as a corner, old school Rikishi style or Umaga style, and then getting a quick tag for the lovely quick splash on Gargano, which he breaks it up after Tommaso was down for the 2. Fatu takes advantage of the floor and then gets on the step side of the steel steps. Gargano tags in, hits a shatter machine for a tag team combination, as Tama Tonga hits with the distraction, as Solo Sikoa hits a Samoan spike on Ciampa to take him out. Gargano ends up kicking out of a DDT, putting him boots to Johnny Gargano. Johnny Gargano recovers and super kicks and hits a suicide dive, taking Tonga directly out, including with a poison Frankensteiner, but the Samoan Werewolf pops back directly right up. Then the transition with a super kick and a pop-up Samoan drop with a double moonsault. Of course, the double jump moonsault that I love so much from Jacob Fatu. He perched up, was looking like a true beast, and was able to secure the victory as the Bloodline ends up picking up the victory as being a new WWE Tag Team Champions. More importantly, they ended up holding up the Tag Team Championship to close out the segment, with Solo Sikoa pretty much holding them across his shoulders after they presented him in arms. And now the next step is trying to get the WWE Undisputed Championship. The show was pretty decent from start to finish when it came to that match. It was 4.2 out of 5 stars. It was pretty decent. I enjoyed everything about the hard-hitting transitional moves of this tag team match, and it truly kept me invested, and I enjoyed the course of the main event. The overall show of SmackDown tonight was 3.8 out of 5 stars. It was decent for what it was, but that lackluster Legado del Fantasma match was just a crash and burn of Apollo Crews alongside of no other than Angel Garza and all of them that were involved in that actual match. I wish more things would become a little bit more better, but SmackDown kind of picked up from last week, as last week was kind of like very lackluster, kind of just really was wasn't as good as it had been the last 2 weeks. It was kind of like a smash and burn, but kind of like where they really dropped the ball when it came to the last 2 weeks. But they kind of picked it up when it came to the going home show. I would like to know from you guys' point of view, how are you feeling about everything when it came to actual SmackDown? More importantly, what are you excited for when it comes to the predictions of this following Saturday when it comes to SummerSlam? My hot picks when it comes to everybody for each match. We have Drew McIntyre taking on CM Punk with special guest referee Seth Rollins, who's going to be in right down the middle. Of course, he hates both of them. It's going to be intriguing to see how that actual match unfolds. But my pick is going to be no other than CM Punk. I feel like some kind of way he's going to be involved and end up winning after all the drama unfolds. Then we're going to have Logan Paul versus LA Knight for the United States Championship. This match is going to be intriguing, hard-hitting, but a lot of fun when it comes to the actual match. I see LA Knight coming victorious of becoming a new United States champion. That is my hot pick when it comes to this following Saturday for SummerSlam. Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker. My hot pick is going to be no other than Braun Breaker becoming the new Intercontinental Champion, which Braun Breaker has been on a true streak and just been dominating. And of course, they kind of teased it, but I would love for him to become a Paul Heyman guy in the near future, to have that big mouthpiece to back him up, and it'd be intriguing to see how far Braun Breaker can go towards 2025. Then we have Damian Priest versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. This match is already building up with kind of like a style of rich versus poor. But more importantly, the storyline has been very mid at best. But I see Gunther walking away as the World Heavyweight Champion. And it's going to be intriguing as Damian Priest had a decent run as the World Heavyweight Champion. But some way I feel like Judgment Day are going to cost him the championship. And they're going to break away from him, where you have Finn Balor and JD McDonough turn their backs directly on Damian Priest. Along, we have Liv Morgan taking on Rhea Ripley. I feel like Judgment Day is going to be involved with that. Dominic's going to turn his back on Rhea, and Rhea's going to end up not winning that match, but actually having Dominic turn on her to elevate the story further towards Bad Blood. Then we end up having Bayley versus Nia Jax. I feel like we're going to have another championship transitional new champion, Nia Jax. I feel like she's going to be the workhorse and end up becoming the WWE Women's Champion. But when it comes to Tiffany Stratton, some way I feel like she's going to leave her eyes kind of like open and really go for the home stretch. And I see her probably actually going for the World Heavyweight Championship. I feel like some way they're going to tease it later on. She's going to hold it for a little bit. She's not going to go for a quick cash in. She's going to take her time. But I feel like she's going to make that jump to Monday Night Raw when they get ready to make the transition for Netflix. Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa for the WWE Undisputed Championship. For my own personal opinion, I feel like Cody Rhodes is going to retain, with so much pandemonium is going to go on in that Bloodline Rules match. I feel like Cody Rhodes is going to retain after Randy Orton and Kevin Owens will be making their actual return to set up his new feud with Randy Orton over time after things. They have a celebration next week, some kind of how, and Randy Orton's going to turn on them. And you know, when the Viper strikes, he strikes. But more importantly, they're going to set up for Solo Sikoa to go to battle with Roman Reigns, which is going to be intriguing and interesting to see where the bloodline falls when Roman Reigns actually is returned. I know they kind of feel side-eyed when it comes to Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu, from my own personal opinion, I feel like he will most importantly be align himself with Roman Reigns. Some way I feel like Jacob will, even though he's currently down with Solo Sikoa, but I feel like he's gonna be working his way with Roman. We got was the Chaos Theory 035. He came out with a nice one. He said he would like to see Roman Reigns come back. I truly not Roman Reigns, but Brock Lesnar come back. Brock actually is on his way back. They're already setting up. They're just trying to figure out where his next feud is gonna be with. It could be this actual Saturday with the Bloodline rules match, as there's a lot of respect when it comes to Cody Rhodes. But Brock, after they clear everything up with the whole court case thing, WWE has been mentioning Brock a whole lot more when it comes to the actual television of everything that have been going on. But I see Brock making his actual return, and it's going to be intriguing. But I look forward to seeing Brock making his return. But I feel like they're probably going to end up maybe making him put him into the Hall of Fame this year. But we shall see how things may fall for 2025. But I feel like he's gonna be the first ballot Hall of Fame. It's between him and the Miz. Got Rico 305 coming through with a nice couple of 100 with a couple of muscles, and we love the fire right there from directly from Rico. It's always appreciated for him coming through. He's always been a true advocate of always showing his love and support, and is always appreciated. You said Brock versus Gunther at Berlin. That would be interesting, as Brock is returning but that put him for Berlin for that World Heavyweight Championship. I think they're probably gonna set that up for Vegas. It's gonna be Brock versus They're gonna make up for last year's for WrestleMania 41. They're gonna end up setting that up for Vegas to have Brock versus Gunther. From my own personal opinion, I feel like that's where they're gonna set that feud up. They're gonna cross paths, especially at the Royal Rumble. They're gonna cross paths in some kind of way or fashion on the lines of things. Of course, Brock is going to end up having Paul Heyman involved in some kind of way or fashion, and they're going to cross paths. And of course, Paul Heyman's going to give that his puppy eyes, as he normally does, and think that will be kind of like a big threat to face Brock Lesnar. But it'll be interesting to see now that Paul Heyman's a face now, and seeing Brock versus Gunther. I think that will be a banger. When it comes to Gunther, I feel like things will lead up very quickly. When it comes to Chad Theory, he said, is The Rock going to lead the new Bloodline? From my personal opinion, yes. I feel like The Rock is pulling the strings right now for the brand new Bloodline currently right now. He's already calling himself the final boss, which is going to be Roman versus The Rock at WrestleMania in Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium, which is going to be a big pop. They said this is going to be the fourth inning of this whole saga with the Bloodline, as it's going to be highly interesting to see how things unfold with the Bloodline. But more importantly, I'll be highly interested to see how things may transpire, as The Rock is just finished up his dates. And this may be an actual wave of him returning back to WWE after he just finished up his movie dates. He's free all the way up until November, when he starts his new movie, as he get ready for Jumanji 3 to start that tapings and get that going for the actual movie. So the storyline continue to be progress. I feel like when it comes to The Rock, he has been pulling the strings for a while now. Ever since Roman Reigns lost, he felt disappointed when he came to Roman. More importantly, it's going to be intriguing and interesting to see how things actually pick up with this whole storyline. With Jimmy and Jay most likely aren't going to be there this Saturday, but with Roman having been outnumbered, that's when Jimmy and Jay is going to assort themselves leading up towards Survivor Series, where they're going to have Solo Sikoa with his group. And don't forget, this following Saturday, we're going to end up having more members of the Bloodline being involved this Saturday with the Bloodline rules, including we're possibly already having Umaga-san, who's going to be there as well, will be joining of Zilla. He just signed with WWE, and he's going to be there this following Saturday for tomorrow night. And so it's going to be intriguing to see how the new members are going to shape up. Zilla, I feel like he's going to join the new Bloodline. And then I feel like Jacob's going to swap out and go with Roman to be the enforcer for that side. As we're going to have the true big Samoa, a lot of Samoans involved in WWE this following year towards the end of the fourth quarter. It's going to be intriguing to see how things may pick up. And we are going to get God versus the Usos. But I feel like it's going to be interesting to see where they pick up from there. He says, so happy for Tama Tonga to get those tag team championship, but wishes it was God versus Usos. But I don't know if they're trust Tonga. Well, I don't know if Tonga has a couple injuries. He does have a few injuries before he signed with WWE. I know he was dealing with a shoulder injury at the time being before he signed when he was in New Japan. But it'd be kind of interesting to see where he unfolds. But he has continued to be involved with everything. But of course, WWE fans have been sitting on him ever since then. He made his appearance. He's been doing a couple botches. Maybe it's the nervousness of being involved when it comes to the WWE. But it'd be intriguing to see how things go. Well, he botched a lot of things. If you actually seen him even all the way to his days when he was Camacho back in the days, he was always a walking botch. Even in New Japan Pro Wrestling, he was always a big botch when it came to everything that he actually has done. But I would love to see the Gorillas of Destiny actually being back to full form once they figure out what's going on with Tongaloa to be able to get him cleared and then switch the tag team titles. Because I know that they're going to lose the tag team titles very quickly after the Usos get involved in some kind of way. But I feel like, speaking of the Usos, I feel like they dropped the ball on Jey Uso. Jey Uso does need to be the world champion. He's red hot right now. And they need to go ahead and give him his run and give him his flowers. I agree with Rikishi at some point. Like, when the ship is selling right now, it's the best point in time to give him his run for his money, to give him the world championship. But when it comes to Gorilla's Destiny, I want to see them actually back in full form. But once they get to Netflix, we know we're gonna get Tama Tonga talking off the rip. You know, he loves to curse a lot. I mean, a lot. If you get same when it comes to Jacob Fatu, he loves to curse a lot too when it comes to things. And with this PG era, kind of with everything that's going on, well, Netflix is no holds bar, and Triple H really discussed and talked about it, that things are gonna be intriguing and interesting once they all be able to have an open mic. It's gonna feel like an attitude era. More things will be able to go. And it's gonna be interesting to see how Netflix does when it comes to having live television taping on their programming and see how they actually feel in everything. And it'll be interesting. He says they need to get Tama Tonga the mic. Do promos were amazing. New Japan, of course, he can kill it. Almost every single member of the new Bloodline, they can talk from the rip 100%. I truly agree when it comes to everything they talk about. When you give them a chance to actually talk on the mic, them boys can really talk their shit when it comes to everything they actually talk about. So are people who are offended with cursing, but pretty much I'm just straightforward when it comes to being off the rip. Tamatanga, he knows how to hit some promos. Same when it comes to Jacob Fatu. And Tagaloa could hit a great promos too. It'd just be interesting to see once the chains are fully off, once everybody makes a switch to Netflix. Be kind of interesting to see how they do things. I know they wanted to put Roman Reigns directly on Monday Night Raw, but it'll be interesting to see how it will unfold for the upcoming times. Then eventually they're gonna split off the bloodline feud to culminate a Royal Rumble for The Rock to make his actual return. Then we're gonna get that missing piece, the final conclusion when we get Rock versus Roman Reigns to solve who's the real tribal chief is. From there, I just feel like Solo Sikoa is just being dangled by strings right now, and he's not really. He's just a filler right now because The Rock told him to be in that spot until he makes his return. When it comes to the tag team division, it could be very interesting. I really want to see the Usos versus God. I'd like to know what you guys are feeling about that. Is that something in your dream matches you want to see? More importantly, we have other tag teams coming in as well, including we have Motor City Machine Guns are coming in. They've been signed with World Wrestling Entertainment. They're currently making their way to WWE. They're currently training at the Performance Center to get in their best shape they possibly can. More importantly, which brand we like to see them actually being involved in. We like to see them on Monday Night Raw, NXT, or SmackDown. So does The Rock put up the People's Champion and he got from Ali's wife, or or pretty much when it comes to that, that was actually the championship The Rock actually created. That was WWE's made ship way. It wasn't for Muhammad Ali. That was actually the final version of The Rock's actual WWE championship that never made it on television. But he called it the People's Championship. That was WWE's way of making their own championship for The Rock. Muhammad Ali never, he was already gone at the time being. In a way, he was like, oh, you're the only person that I'm going to give a championship for. We call the People's Champion. It was a lot of people that he called People's Champion. He called Mike Tyson the People's Champion. He called The Rock the People's Champion. He was very close when it came to Kobe Bryant as well as Michael Jordan. But The Rock solely saying, hey, Muhammad Ali made this directly for me. But no, he's just carrying that around right now for the time being and is gonna walk around with the gold. But I don't see them actually having him with the People's Championship. It'd be kind of interesting to see what they do with that. But I feel like that's just like the FTW Championship in AEW, where I feel like that's just there, but not really being used as being acknowledged by the WWE. This following Saturday is going to be very interesting when it comes to SummerSlam, just in general. Is there any matches you look forward to seeing your this following Saturday for SummerSlam? Are you gonna be watching SummerSlam as well as will you be tuning in for All In for AEW? I'll be tuning in directly live there, hanging out and enjoying the show. More importantly, I'd like to know from you guys' point of view. Um, what will you be doing for that time being for tomorrow night? Are you gonna catch it later on when it comes to SummerSlam? Kind of do your own thing with your family, then kind of check everything out when it comes to the actual show for SummerSlam, or are you gonna tune in live to kind of catch on everything that's going on directly with World Wrestling Entertainment? Do they use the title instead of the real WWE Championship if Cody is still the champion when Rock fights Roman? Currently right now, they're not gonna go with the championship instead of the real WWE Championship. When Cody fights Roman, not when Cody fights Rock, it will be the next following year. Rock has two obligated championship matches that he actually is going to go for. He's going to go against Cody twice next year, leading up after he faces Roman. So the WWE Championship is going to be SummerSlam next year, as well as going to be for the following WrestleMania, which is either going to be over in Minneapolis or they're gonna have it in London, where The Rock versus Cody Rhodes is gonna happen. And I feel like Cody's gonna still retain the championship for at least a year. They're gonna keep him with the title for a good while and see how things unfold with Cody if he's still the champion. When it comes to Roman, Roman's gonna take a break from being the top guy, but he's gonna be the intriguing piece when it comes to Monday Night Raw. As of course, once they make the switch for Netflix, Roman is going to be the workhorse world heavyweight champion over there and end up winning the championship after they have the draft after WrestleMania and go from there. But it'll be intriguing to see if they do go with that title though. But I don't think so and call it the real WWE champion. But I think The Rock's still going to say he's the people's champion. But right now, Roman is the getting the props. He's the real people's champion right now, currently at the moment. Maybe he'll put the title on the line. Maybe Roman and Rock will have a title match. It will still be intriguing to see where they go with that actual direction when it comes to Roman and Dwayne the Rock Johnson. But we have to see how the build up turns out right now with Solo and Roman Reigns currently as they're getting ready for Bad Blood, as it's going to be in a Hell in a Cell most likely, as we have the return for that. I know most people want to see CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre have the second match and in Hell in a Cell. CM Punk just doesn't want to have the Hell in a Cell. He doesn't want to get re-injured again. He want to take it slow and work his way towards going back to those kind of high caliber matches because they took so much out of the wrestler when it comes to being involved in the Hell in a Cell. Once you enter the Hell in a Cell, you don't be the same when it comes to being involved, just in general with everything that goes on into the workhorseness and then the pieces that goes on. I feel like everybody's no longer comes out being the same. They always either come out better when it comes to being with the popularity of the fans, or they just battered, bruised, and just beaten down when it comes to the Hell in a Cell. Also, when it comes to new moves, Shane McMahon, he's in talks with AEW after he was declined negotiations with World Wrestling Entertainment. As I know, plenty of you have actually seen in the upcoming news that Shane McMahon has been negotiating with AEW after he did have talks with Triple H before he actually negotiated with AEW. So Shane McMahon probably most likely will be All Elite leading up to All In because of he just was not invested after that dumpster fire match with him and the Miz at WrestleMania last year in Los Angeles. So it'll be intriguing to see a McMahon being somewhere else. Um, but more importantly, it's different. But I think Shane McMahon will be a good piece when it comes to AEW. Since if WWE doesn't want to do business with him, where else to go? Is go to a different promotion and test those waters. But Triple H is still there for the time being, currently, until actually TKO decides to go with a new whole brand new regime. I know they've been getting rid of a lot of people after this investigation unfolds with Vince McMahon's case that's been going on. I know Vince is going to throw a lot of people under the bus who's there in World Wrestling Entertainment. So TKO probably most likely are going to do a clean slate and get rid of a lot of people. Even Triple H may be one of those people that may get shot down. A lot of people may not be happy about that, but I feel like Triple H is going to be one of those guys that will be most likely being hit when it comes to those cuts when TKO is ready to do a clean slate after all those people get thrown under the bus after everything that happened with Vince McMahon. As well in news, we end up having Mark Henry's son, Jacob Henry. He officially is officially part of WWE. He was with his father last Wednesday, and he announced that he will be joining World Wrestling Entertainment. There is no official start date to when he will sign with the company, but it would be intriguing to see Jacob Henry go into the same steps as his father, and I'll be interested to see how things unfold when it comes to him being involved in the NXT brand, get some wrestling under his belt, and of course become a two-time Legion athlete, as well as he's currently right now playing football and wrestling. Hopefully he's able to get championships or even Olympic gold when it comes to both Legion athletes branding for both teams. So it'll be very interesting. Chaos Theory says, let's see what how CM Punk does tomorrow before we start talking about gimmick matches like the Hell in a Cell. I'm hoping Punk just had bad luck and not an injury prone as people think. CM Punk is technically older than he actually is, and he's got the injury bug. He's been having it a lot. I mean, before he came to WWE, he was getting injured left and right when it came to when he was in AEW. I don't know if his body can hold up as what it used to, but it'll be kind of interesting to see what they do in that situation. But when it comes to CM Punk, just in general, I feel like, from my own hot take, I feel like he doesn't need to do no big major gimmick matches right now. He was just in the Royal Rumble and pretty much torn his whole entire tricep. That tells you right there and there. He wasn't ring ready. He has to get a little bit more reps. I know he's doing it this time around. He's actually been hitting the mat a lot more now that he had actually still working with FTR, who have helping him get back into ring shape, as well as Tommaso Ciampa, who's been there helping him out. AJ Lee has been there for his training camp as well to get him back into ring ready to go to battle with Drew McIntyre. But it'll be highly interesting to see how things continue to unfold when it comes to where CM Punk may fit in. I think they're gonna start off light, and then once Drew McIntyre gets things under the way, he's gonna carry majority of the match. But he's a safe worker, so we don't have to worry about CM Punk getting re-injured again. Drew McIntyre has been always protective when it comes to every person that he's been in the ring with. They feel like he's one of those top generals or leaders of the roster. And it's going to be interesting to see how things unfold when it comes to CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. It's going to be a great match, having Seth Rollins being involved. I feel like they're both going to push his buttons. He's going to call things down the middle, but the moment they put their hands on him, Seth's gonna curb stomp one of them, and it's gonna be interesting to see how things unfold in the long run. Let's see. But more importantly, I'd like to know from you guys how you guys feeling about DIY losing the tag team championship. Were you looking to see the Bloodline actually keeping the gold? Now that they're actually the champions, or we like to see them make it transitional. Once Roman Reigns returns, the Usos get involved for a rematch because DIY is getting a rematch next following week for the tag team championship. Of course, that's how Triple H has been booking it to get more rematches when it comes to the title gold. But do you feel like it was too early when it came to DIY losing the tag team championship? I'd like to know from you guys' own personal opinion how you feeling about that, just in general. Let me see. He says CM Punk seems happy in WWE. Thankfully, he's not working with children anymore. 100%. When it came to the actual drama that unfolded with the Bucks are immature. 100%. They even admitted when it came to AEW All Access. I had watched the whole entire thing. It was kind of disappointing to see how things was unfolding when it came to how the drama happened, even if it was Jack Perry or whoever it was. But I feel like the EVPs were kind of a little childish and they dropped the ball, and CM Punk ended up going to WWE. He is a lot more happier because he liked the structure of how World Wrestling Entertainment handles things. It's a chain of command of the way how they handle things, and they have a board of directors, and WWE is a little bit more strict on what talent could do on social media, how they act in public, or how they act behind the scenes. As you currently have been seeing lately with AEW, they had another fiasco when it came to Britt Baker. I feel like she's always being one of those people that have been kind of the nostalgia antagonist when it comes to the women's division, causing a lot of problems in the back. I feel like right now AEW is having all the talent running the asylum, which is never a good thing if you have a talent running the asylum, and they need to find their niche to get everything back together. But CM Punk is actually happier. Everything that happened when it came to the Jack Perry situation, he did not lie about it. It just showed that CM Punk was honest. He said, hey, I choked somebody out just a little bit, whatever case it be. The next following week, AEW decided to show the footage. It did not make him look bad at all. CM Punk have been genuinely honest. He's a little bit older. He's just not he's not into the none of the BS. And he's just straightforward when it came to what he actually felt. And it has been genuine. But more importantly, he's happier. The people that he's working with, the way how things are more professionalism, he's having the talent actually coming up and shake his hand. I know he had a big issue in AEW where talent was a little bit more disrespectful. I know some talent are still respectful of the old code of if you see the legends, you always shake everybody's hand and show respect to them and get their advice. CM Punk was very big about that. He's been helping a lot of talent, even the newer generation, when it comes to NXT. He's been always vocal about he want to help the young generation, and he's been doing his part. So it's been very intriguing and interesting to see how things may happen in the long run. Chaos Theory says the Bloodline need those titles, tag team titles. They have some kind of success control to make it believable. If they do end up losing, who cares when Roman comes back against them? Which is true. When it comes to the whole situation, they do need a tag team championship, but I would have preferred it to be Gorilla of Destiny being a tag team championship. But hey, I'll take Jacob Fatu being a champion, period. He's only had 3 matches and is already a champion in WWE. That shows you how impressive Jacob Fatu has been. DIY is on the back burner once again. I know a lot of people are going to complain about that. They're going to be upset about how things have actually unfolded with my buddies of mine. He just texted me just not too long ago. He was kind of upset about the whole situation that happened with DIY. He wanted to see how things actually was going to unfold to become a lot better. But we shall see. I'll be intrigued to know and see how things continue to be progress with DIY. But The storylines are changing by the minute. Triple H is cooking up something really good. It's nothing sour. It's no Council Christmas or anything like that. I've been very intrigued on seeing how things continue to be unfolding each week when it comes to Friday Night SmackDown. Monday Night Raw have been killing it each and every single week as well. But was actually to help out everything when it came to Friday Night SmackDown. I enjoyed what SmackDown have been cooking up, and it's been brewing. Roman Reigns is going to come back, and it's going to be interesting. So I think it's our free bird rules. Bloodline has the titles, and will change who wrestles to defend them. Maybe most likely we'll see. Maybe we'll get those old rules back where the Bloodline is going to try to talk to Nick Aldis and kind of tell him that they run everything and he can't tell him shit. Which most likely we're probably going to end up having Nick Aldis do come back and wrestle at some point in time. But I think that's going to happen with him and Grayson Waller in the Battle of Berlin. I feel like that's will be the point where Nick Aldis is going to get tired and Grayson Waller is going to push his buttons and Nick Aldis is going to return to the wrestling ring, but he's going to be not a pushover. He's actually going to fight talent if he needs to, but it's going to be the turning point where they're going to have to put somebody else in because they're going to say we can't have GMs fighting talent and whatever the situation may go. Or he may say, hey, just temporarily for this match, it's going to be a non-sanction, and he be able to get those matches across. But I know some kind of way Nick Aldis is going to be involved in the Bloodline storyline where he's going to try to put his authority and let them know, like, hey, I run a show, but I feel like he's going to turn heel and join that Bloodline group. And it'd be kind of interesting to see how the GM folds with everything that's been going on. I know he doesn't want how things were happening when we had Adam Pearce in control and the Bloodline pretty much was just running everything. But Nick Aldis said he's not going to go for it. So it'll be interesting to see how the Bloodline be involved when it comes to tomorrow night, and as well as keeping all the championship and trying to get the championship. But I'm not convinced on nothing that's going on right now when it comes to the new tribal chief of Solo Sikoa. I feel like Jacob Fatu makes a better, interesting tribal chief. He looks the part, he feels the part, he can go. He's basically everything that Solo Sikoa should be on a better scale. But Solo is looking like he's one of the lackeys there in the background, and I don't know if I'm liking it. But I feel like Jacob Fatu is fitting the role a little bit more better, and I think Solo may get jealous because you saw when Tama Tonga gave Jacob Fatu the kind of look, they really don't trust him too much, and the commentary kind of hinted at that a little bit. But we shall see how things unfold with that situation with Jacob Fatu over the course of the weeks. Maybe the Bloodline may say, hey, if the Bloodline have the championship, any of us could be the tag team champions. Maybe Solo may go that route and say, we have to go, we can do what we want, and we can put anybody we want as the tag team champions at any point in time. As you said, they said the Bloodline are the tag team champions. They never said who actually holds the gold, but I think that may end up happening where they will have a Bloodline rules when it comes to everything that they actually put on the table. And I look forward to seeing how things unfold. Chaos Theory says Jacob is the killer and The Rock is the boss. Solo will go crawling back to Roman, and the Tongas stay with The Rock. Yes, the Tongas are staying with The Rock 100%. When Zilla comes in, I feel like Zilla's going to end up joining The Rock as well. And then, of course, we have the other Tonga as well. We have the other Tonga coming in, which is the big man who was there in the Bullet Club. He'll be making his actual debut soon, and he'll be joining the Tongas as well. But I feel like they're going to eventually just be their own faction and leave the Bloodline. And Solo is going to have to figure it out because the Tongas, I feel like, are going to just kind of take over everything. But the Fatu's got to get it together too, because that's what it's looking like it's heading. I feel like Jacob is aligning because he's cool with Jacob. But it'll be interesting to see how Zilla fits in. I know Zilla's going to be there in Cleveland for tomorrow night because he already put in his destination. He's going to be there. So we're going to have a lot more new members being involved tomorrow night as Roman makes his return. I think Zilla's gonna come back with Roman and start with a whole new group who's gonna be saying, "Hey, it's gonna be the Great Civil War." But Jacob is a killer, man. He's killing it, 100%. I gotta give Jacob his props. That's the guy. When WWE signed him, I said he's a star. He's gonna be the world champion. And people talk 2026. I'm like 2025. He's gonna be the United States champion. Straight up. That's gonna be his first go. Well, I thought it was gonna be his first goal, but they gave him the go very quickly, and now he's gonna be the tag team champions for a good little while until the Usos get in the mix of things. As Jey Uso and Jimmy, because you know the GMs can actually switch talent during this time period. They said they could negotiate and trade talent. So technically, there's no soft brand split. Pretty much talent. Probably you can make the jump at any point in time. And I think they're probably gonna make the switch of Jay going back over to kind of cool him off as being a single star because Jay got over organically, and I feel like they weren't ready for that. Similar to like LA Knight, and they weren't. That wasn't their guy at first. Jey Uso wasn't their guy, but he got over so well and so organically. They're gonna try to cool him off and put him back with Jimmy Uso, which is still gonna be cool. But I feel like Jay needs a spotlight. Jacob still a beast, 100%, and you got to give it to him. He says, I don't think Zilla debuts, but if he puts on social media that he will be there, he won't be on camera. We want that a secret. Sometimes they do, but he actually just put Destination Cleveland. So he kind of put that, but he is gonna be there. You never know. But sometimes he does keep stuff secret. Sometimes they don't. The big stars that they really trust, they're gonna keep it a secret. Somebody that's a big signing that they feel are Zilla's not really a big signing. There'll be somebody that's just coming in, just a filler spot, the jobber of the group when it comes to the bloodline, but not really a big focus point of the storyline. Kind of like he's just there, kind of like what Tonga Loa is right now, in a spot of not really just being there and major high profile action, but more so just the filler when it comes to whatever direction he goes in, being the jobber of the group. Let's see. We have a couple of ones. Let's see. Coming through Facebook. No, Facebook. They're kind of quiet right now. YouTube. Got a couple folks watching. X is still live and proud. Appreciate you guys on X. I would love to have you guys from X switch over to YouTube as I'm getting ready to close down shortly. I would love to have you guys come through. You guys have been very, very supportive so far. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are busy on a Friday night, which I usually get close to almost a replay of a lot of people come through. Close to maybe 40 or 50 people usually watch live editions of my show. But I appreciate you guys. You guys have always been awesome. Don't forget to hit that like or heart. More importantly, share this content. And it's always appreciated for you guys always coming through for a live edition of Friday Night SmackDown, just in general. Is there anything else you guys want to touch in? Is there any news that I haven't gone across when it came to anything that has been breaking? Has you guys heard anything rumbling? Is anybody returned? I know Trish Stratus is on her way back to WWE. She's going to be having her actual match with Becky Lynch. Eventually, they're going to set that up. When Becky returns, she's going to be having a one-on-one feud with Trish Stratus. She's been very vocal about it so far. Let's see. They need to be careful not to make the NWO mistake. Too many people get involved, and the people who don't care about it meaningless. I feel like it's going to be heading to that direction where you're going to have so many Samoans and be like, why we signed all these Samoans for? It doesn't make sense. But of course, The Rock has a whole lot of pull because Roman and The Rock want to bring their family in. I understand that, but they don't all need to be signed in World Wrestling Entertainment. We don't need to turn to a Samoan dynasty back in the late 70s, 80s when the Samoans were running things with Vince McMahon Sr., not Vince McMahon, Vince Kennedy McMahon, but his actual dad, where the Samoans really were running everything back in the old school days, back in the 70s. He says Shane McMahon is going to be an AEW champion. No, I don't think Shane is going to be in that kind of capacity unless he needs to be. I think Shane McMahon's gonna do some kind of backstage creative role to kind of give insight. He wants to be more on the creative end. I know Tony Khan told him to kind of watch the product a little bit more and know so he can get familiarized with knowing who the talent are. I know Shane hasn't really been too close to all the talent, but he's been actually been watching videos. But Shane is officially going to be signed. He probably is going to announce the Warner Brothers Discovery deal leading up to All In. And I see him being like an executive kind of like mouthpiece behind the scenes kind of guy. If anything, from my personal opinion, I will love to see Shane be more on the lines of patrolling and being creative for Collision, and have Tony Khan focus more so on Dynamite, which that will be intriguing to see how that may unfold with everything. But it'll be interesting to see if Shane become a champion. But I don't see him actually being physical after he did that whole botch of what happened directly at WrestleMania with the Miz. I feel like he's past that point. I think he want to play it safe and not get injured again. And he probably just want to have some kind of on-screen character role and play it safe. But we shall see. It'd be intriguing to see if Shane actually be involved in that. But I don't think so for the most part. It'd be interesting though. Let's see here. I'm looking right now. There's no actual news going on. No news breaks. No re-signing. We did have one re-signing earlier today with WWE. The Miz did re-sign back with WWE, of course. He probably is going to eventually talk about that over time. That's usually why they did the whole exclusive talk about him behind the scenes about the Miz. The Miz did resign for another 3 years with AEW, not AEW, but WWE. So it'll be interesting to see how things may happen. He said, "Is there any help for AEW? I don't know, man. That shit is horrible most of the time. AEW actually isn't that bad whatsoever. They put on great matches. It's just that consistency is their problem and keeping the fans interested. I know a lot of WWE fans do actually do shit on AEW, but AEW is still really good when it comes to the in-ring action. When it comes to getting more of the talent more over when it comes to promo skills and everything, I feel like they just overstacked, overfulfilled with the roster. They need to let the talent go. But it'll be AEW hasn't really been like over the top boring. I still watch regularly when it comes to Dynamite and Collision. They still keep me invested each and every single week. Um, but I have no ill will or negativity when it comes to AEW. AEW is still gonna be around, just like TNA. When people were saying TNA was gonna die, TNA has been still hanging for almost close to 20 years. You can't sit there and say that they died or whatever the case may be. TNA has been rocking and rolling. So I don't see AEW going anywhere. AEW is a big branding. I think Tony Khan was too focused on outside sources. If they focus on their own product, they will be fine. I know a lot of people were just comfortable with WWE. Hey, it's okay. I'm cool with having more companies evolve because they give talent somewhere to go. And if you do only have one big major company, where the rest of the talent going to go? Just an indie scene and not be seen and not really make money, but having a secondary big major promotion like AEW in the wins in the line of things really helps them out 100% of a talent. I don't like to see talent not having a job or once they release from WWE from the catering, they really don't have anything. And I don't like to see both companies having too many talent too, because most of the talent is just sitting at home or just hanging in backstage really with nothing really to do, just kicking back, sitting in chairs and playing ping pong or whatever else they do in the catering and really not being used to their full potential. I understand that Ricochet left because he felt like he couldn't get over in WWE and he felt like that he was just a mid card and he was stuck there. So he's gonna try AEW. I feel like he's gonna be a mid card over there as well. He just don't have what it takes to be the top guy. He says, do 350-year-old mans go to AEW and restart the Hurt business and become champion? I like Bobby, but damn, he is many years and many opportunities. Well, Bobby's already hit his peak. He's past his prime. He's been doing his thing. He was a great champion his peak. MVP still is gonna have a retirement tour. I think that's what he wanted to do. They didn't want to give MVP back in the ring. He was very vocal about it, and MVP wanted to be in the ring. The Hurt Business technically was what the Bloodline was going to be, but the Hurt Business storyline was taken and given to the Bloodline. MVP was very vocal about it, and he was upset about it. Bobby Lashley was stuck at a peak now where there was nothing for him currently at the moment. And so Bobby decided not to re-sign, or actually WWE did not actually give him a contract. They did not even talk to Bobby Lashley. They just let it expire. They gave him an offer that was lower than his actual contract that he had beforehand, and Bobby wasn't interested. He said, "Nah, I'm feel like I'm. Why would I take less to be here longer? Because they was gonna give him a 5-year deal, and I believe it's gonna be 100, well, like a close, like I believe it's like 142, 100, not 140, but like 10 million like per year or something like that. But he felt like it wasn't enough to keep him invested. But Tony, he's gonna go to W. He's gonna go to AEW. He's gonna go get that paycheck. Most talent, like, why not take advantage of it? If Tony got the money, I feel like WCW all over again. If another company got the money that you want, you're gonna go to the other company, even if you're not using not. It's about securing that bag and make sure your family is all set at the end of the day. But when it comes to the Hurt Business reforming, Shelton Benjamin, MVP, and as well as Bobby Lashley, it'd be intriguing to see what they do. I think they may go start off just doing a world tour. They're not gonna officially sign with AEW right away. He said no way the Hurt Business would be been close to the Bloodline 20 years ago, maybe. Yeah, but I feel like they should have been more like Nation of Domination style, kind of like take no names, kind of like been straightforward and honest about what they felt, and kind of just, instead of just walking around on suits, they should have just been straight like angry black man. That's what gets over apparently in pro wrestling, and just putting the beat down on people, kind of like the Beat Down Clan when MVP and Bobby Lashley had their original group in TNA back in the days. I feel like that's what it was, just with them wearing suits. And I don't see it going far with AEW because one, they have too many talent on AEW and people are not being used. Who are they going to line them with? They're going to add Keith Lee, which Keith Lee's on his way back to WWE as well because he has been pitching to come back. Tony just don't have anything creative for him at the moment. So Keith Lee's going to let his contract expire and he's hoping to come back to WWE. When it comes to Bobby Lashley, yeah, he will get his time of day. He's going to get that big maximum contract. He's going to be treated like a big star for a little bit. But is he going to get TV time? Is going to be the question. Are you going to have enough TV time for them to be able to be used? MVP can be there, all that. The Hurt Business can be reformed. They can't use the Hurt Business name because WWE owns the LP for it. So they're going to have to rename, come to a new name. But it'll be interesting. And then Cedric Alexander isn't leaving. He's not leaving because he knows the situation that's going on currently with AEW. When you got too many cooks in the kitchen, it's just not gonna work. And I think Cedric's gonna stay there and work with his new tag team, Shanti Adonis. They're an interesting tag team right now in NXT. I've been watching a little bit of it. Was Bobby and the Profits or um what was Bobby and the Street Profits? It was like they wanted to keep Bobby but replace MVP and Shelton with the younger talent, and still they did nothing. Well, they had nothing creative just for them in general. The Street Profits, have you seen them lately? The past 2 weeks, yeah, they were in the tag team gauntlet. They had nothing creative for the Street Profits and nothing for Bobby Lashley. They put them together as a team, but they really had nothing really for them. I feel like that was kind of disappointing on that end. When it came to Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, yeah, they replaced it MVP and they got rid of Shelton Benjamin. They decided what to keep him happy is have a mid tag team trios, but really gonna be jobbers, and it just wasn't get over. They were losing every single week. Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits were losing to Final Testament. They just finally beat them at WrestleMania after a long-standing feud, but they weren't having anything, no creative direction. But when it comes to how things are standing right now, I feel like Bobby Lashley is going to go to AEW. Montez Ford needs to break away from Angelo Dawkins so he can actually become a great single star to get over. Because I thought we was going to get that Elimination Chamber um last year, but we're not going to get that currently. And then the Street Profits are just stale. They're just borderline. They're just flatline right now. They're not doing anything intriguing. They're not keeping us invested. And I want to see more from the Street Profits. But the Street Profits have hit all their accolades. They won all the tag team championship. I don't think they will have anything for them. I would think Bianca's husband will be treated better. 100%. He's a star. He can talk on the mic. He has great mic skills. His charisma is A1 when it comes to the way how he go about his way when it comes about him talking and everything that he has been about. His presence is a main eventer, 100%. When it comes to Montez Ford is a star. 100%. I agree that Montez is a star. I feel like they need to go ahead and give him the ball and let him do his thing. Montez needs to be give him a mid card championship, see how he does with that, and give him some kind of meaningful run. I'd love to see him pick it up in the singles division, but they feel like they're dropping the ball on him and not giving him an opportunity. They give him an opportunity, and then he gets hot, and then they cool him off because it wasn't the way how they wanted him to get hot. But hopefully they find something for him. Same when it comes to Bianca and Jade Cargill. They're flatline on them too. They're with the creative decision. They give him this kind of like mid kind of tier promos. I feel like they could do better when it comes to them. But they're not giving Bianca and Jade anything meaningful. Eventually Jade's gonna get frustrated. And Bianca may end up going back to her badass heel, which I love Bianca when she was a heel. And I think it's going to come sooner or later. Jay's going to be their face of the women's division of being that big workhorse. But I feel like Bianca's going to end up turning heel again. And it's going to be interesting. After they keep losing, Bianca's going to get mixed up with Jade to give her kind of more singles ring reps and basically build that chemistry with her, show her how the WWE style works. Let's see. Everything else that's going on. Back to what we were talking about, the Hurt Business. It was flatline when it came to the Pride. Right now, they feel flatline right now as well, with them being right now with Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. They're flatline. I don't know if there's anything else more interesting to say about that group. The group is just they know how to get over, but W's kind of feel like they're cooling off for them. They have nothing for them. Yeah, you got other things that can happen, but they kind of just fell off the map of the tag team division. Bobby Lashley was mixed up with them. He fell off from that peak of being part of the tag team division, and it'll be interesting. 100%. For you guys on Twitter, if you guys are tuning in, I would love for you guys to switch. If you want to continue to chime into the conversation, I would love for you guys to switch over to YouTube. As YouTube, I'm getting ready to cut off YouTube, but it was always appreciated for you guys coming directly through from X and Twitter. Same with Facebook. If you guys would like to tune in, feel free to come on through and talk on my YouTube channel, and we continue to chop it up. But it was appreciated for you guys directly on YouTube as well as Facebook. It was a pleasure having you guys. Y'all be safe out there, and I catch you guys. Peace. All right, cool. We're exclusively on YouTube. Let's get things underway. Appreciate you guys coming through for that. But let's close out everything when it came to Facebook and YouTube. We can still chop it up. We're already in the half of an hour and 25 mark of everything that continue to be running smoothly. When it comes to Chaos Theory, he says, I think Montez needs to put on some weight before he is taken seriously. If Duke comes back like Randy or AJ did, they're like they still Ultimate Warriors launch, and I bet he will get pushed 100%. But I think they're taking SRT or they taking steroids now that they're no longer under the original WWE banner. With TKO, because it's UFC, they don't really do like major testing. They probably changed up everything. And since the whole thing with Vince McMahon era, they kind of a little bit more laid back. So talent are coming back more beefer. If Montez takes his time away right now, currently right now at the moment, if they just cool off on the hurt business, not the hurt business, but Street Profits, let them beef up, let them take some time away, and then boom, out the blue, we get a heel version of the Street Profits coming back, being more serious, more focal. I'll be more interested and intriguing to see how things unfold when it comes to the Street Profits. I would love to see Montez Ford become more beef up. He kind of jokes around a little bit when he does the whole balloon spot and then start puffing on his chest like he's already big. I remember he did that when he had singles action when it came to when it came to AJ Styles. It was always funny and interesting, but they need to get the ball with Montez and let him go. If they personally can, I'll be 100% interested in seeing how things unfold from there. Let me see. And then when it comes to Montez Ford, not Montez Ford, but Angelo Dawkins, I feel like if he dropped the weight too and really focus on his health and really get it together correctly, he could become a great, decent mid card wrestler as well. If they go ahead and just give them some time away, let them go to the PC, let them get to the way how W wants them to get. They will be cool. They be calm, cool, and collective, and I think things will be smooth, 100%. Alrighty, we've got 3 minutes on the clock. Is there anything else you guys like to ask before I jet out of here and get ready to watch a little bit of AEW Rampage? Of course, I know a lot of people don't watch Rampage, but I'm gonna catch up on the shows I missed last night as well as TNA. I'm gonna catch up on TNA and see how they were doing as well. And TNA's been kind of killing it, but I feel like it's been one-sided when it comes to WWE kind of getting all their talent in. But I know next week they're going to have Gallus and a couple other folks jumping that ship on the NXT brand of things, going over to TNA. But it'll be highly interesting, 100%. Let me see. Cool, cool. Everything's looking good. See, last comments come on through. Anybody got comments or anything? Anybody would like to keep me updated or anything that they're feeling? I would love for you guys to come on through. And also, I will be live after SummerSlam as well as give you guys actual review for Collision as well to keep the algorithm going. But it was always appreciated for you guys coming through. Hope you guys have a safe night and enjoy the rest of your weekend. And it's always a pleasure. Had a good time watching this, man. I'll subscribe to your channel. Much better than some of these crazy ass people out there. Hey, everybody has some content for somebody. You never know. It's always good to have somebody coming through. I always appreciate you, man. Don't forget to message me directly if you're coming over to Twitter. Message me so I can follow you over there on X as well. You've been pretty chill. It's always a pleasure to have somebody. Of course, I would love to have for you on the channel as well. If you're camera ready, your mic ready, maybe we could link up and carry a conversation. You've been very engaging. You're very informative about wrestling and just in general. I'm gonna be doing a lot of collaborations this following next week with a whole lot of people that will be joining my lives next week, including I will be having Kenny Baum and a couple other folks who will be joining my actual lives for all next week. Cut a lot of special guests starting next week. I'm currently starting the banners with everything, and it's always a pleasure for having each and every single one of you guys coming through for another nitty gritty, everything so saucy with professional wrestling. And more importantly, it's always a good time to have you guys through. Until the next episode, I'll catch you guys later. Peace.